Welcome back to Around the Felt Sports, continuing our mini-series predicting each team's 2025 season. We're keeping it rolling here with the Los Angeles Rams, the defending champions of the NFC West. I am your host, Colin Tong. Joining me, as always, Reagan Loescher. Reagan, how are you doing on this fine night?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to talk some Los Angeles Rams football. This is one of the more exciting teams, especially for fantasy football. A lot of juggernauts in this offense.
Yeah, this is a very explosive offense, a very fun team to talk about with Sean McVay at the helm. And of course, Reagan, one of your dynasty teams is loaded up with the Rams, basically their entire offense. You have Stafford on the bench, Nacua, Adams, and Kyren Williams. So everyone worth owning in this offense as of right now. Perhaps we have some sleepers for you too on top of that. But let's get right into it, man. The Rams, 9.5 win total for 2025. Some key adds, of course, Davante, Adams, Poona Ford to help shore up that run defense. Some losses, Cooper Kupp, Ram legend, but the wheels are starting to fall off for Cooper over there. And Jonah Jackson on the offensive line. This is a damn good football team. Lost in the divisional round last year after a really tough start, 1-4. But once they got back, Nacua and Kupp, they finished the season 8-2 to win the division and make the playoffs, really turn their season around. Where do you see them going in 2025? Are you a believer in this Rams team?
I am a believer. I do have them going 9-8 and just making the playoffs at the 7 seed.
Okay.
I have them getting the tiebreaker over the Bears and Cardinals, who I also have going 9-8. So, that came down to a 3-way tiebreaker, and I have the Rams slotting in at the 7 seed. So, I do think they will have a good season. I just, there's some other teams I liked a little bit more. I mean, this is a young defense, but I think they're going to continue to improve. I mean, last year, even though they lost to the Eagles, those 2 playoff games they played, they were just insane with the sacks. It seemed like they were getting pressured nonstop. At this point, Davante Adams is an upgrade over Cooper Kupp in his career. Puka's obviously a beast as long as he can stay healthy this year, because that really did hurt them early on, losing him for that extended period of time. And then you saw they started to heat up when Puka came back, and then Kyren Williams, obviously a beast, unlocks that whole part of the run game. I'm interested too to see, they drafted the rookie tight end in Terrence Ferguson, so I'm curious to see, what kind of role he will have. Right now, I see he's slated in as the number 3 tight end behind Higbee and Parkinson, but I find it hard to believe that they won't use him in dynamic ways, because you don't take a guy in the second round and not play him. But then again, look, Ben Sinnott last year with the Commanders, so could be wrong there, but I don't know, man. I just think this is going to be a good team. As long as Stafford stays healthy and nothing flares up, I have a lot of confidence. And I guess they have Jimmy G too, so I would have enough confidence if Stafford had any flare-ups or had to miss a game here or there that he could get it done.
You like Jimmy G? You're a Jimmy G fan?
Yeah, as a backup, not as a starter, but I think at the end of the day, if you need him in a spot start, he can get you a win. But where did you come in on the Rams?
I have the Rams at 11-6 and winning this division. Actually, if you haven't listened to our 15 NFL futures video that you have to take, check it out. It's an awesome video. We have a ton of bangers in there. One of mine being the Rams to reach the NFC Championship at plus 500 odds. I really like that when you consider how hot they got last season when they had their full arsenal, how it really flipped for Stafford. Like when Nacua and Kupp came back, he had 17 touchdowns to 4 picks, and it really changed the season for him. Because he didn't have a great 2023. So a lot of people are starting to write off Stafford, and then he came back and looks like, the guy that has flourished under Sean McVay. And you also got to consider they gave the Eagles the biggest run for their money through the entire playoff run for Philadelphia. They had an opportunity at the end there to win the game. Now, it definitely hurt them that Saquon Barkley ran all over this team, and both times they faced Philadelphia. So definitely need to shore up that run defense, in my opinion. But, they have so much young talent on this defensive front that I think is just going to get better. Of course, Jared Verse, Defensive Rookie of the Year, led the league with 89 pressures. Only had 4.5
That doesn't get
sacks,
talked
though.
about enough.
Yeah, but he only had 4.5 sacks. That's why he doesn't get talked about that much. That number will definitely skyrocket. His pressure rate was one tick below Hendrickson, who'd 17.5 sacks, right? So he's going to get better at closing and finishing the job. You know, Kobe Turner, who they took in 23, was awesome on the interior. Braden Fisk, of course, out of Florida State. Jared versus teammate. Byron Young, 7.5 sacks after 8 as a rookie. Then you added Poona Ford to try to help shore up that run defense. I am still a little bit concerned about the linebacker core, very inexperienced, so they need to clean that up. And I don't love this secondary either. They allowed the 5th most passing touchdowns, 25th in yards per passing play last year. So I don't necessarily love the back end of that defense. I like the young talent on the front, but like really for me, what's getting them to 11 wins is Sean McVay, is Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua and Davante Adams might end up being the best duo in football this year. Like for this season, I think they could outproduce Chase and Higgins or Hill and Waddle or Brown and Smith. Like they are going to be that
Hell,
good.
I don't even know if Hill and Waddle are even in the conversation.
Well, I'm not a huge Waddle fan. You know that.
I
So
don't
I'm
even
just
know,
saying in 2023, though, like Hill and Waddle were up there in those conversations. Let's see what the healthy two if they get back in the mix. Right. But I'm saying Puka and Devante are going to be up there. Puka led the league in target share once he returned. Even with Davante Adams in the picture, even if he loses a couple points of that, he's still going to
I mean, he's certainly getting drafted and predicted like he's going to be, that one and not even close to not being the one. I mean, in most fantasy leagues, he's a late first rounder.
Yeah, I'm seeing him go anywhere from like 6 to 9 right now.
Yeah, it's honestly more mid than late. Yeah, it's not even late. It's mid first rounder.
Which is
so he's getting
completely
drafted
warranted.
as if. Oh, yeah. But I still think, Adams is still, I would draft him in like the 3rd round. I mean,
yeah,
I think it's just going to be a high-powered offense, and they're similar to the Eagles in the sense where they have like 2 wide receivers and the rest just aren't relevant.
Yeah, because who's their number 3 right now? Like
it should be
Tutu Atwell? Yeah, like Tutu Atwell. I mean, that's not really. I mean, I don't know, but the number 3 has never really flourished for the Rams. Like Demarcus Robinson was for a couple years.
I mean, Jordan Winnington's there as well. Like maybe he'll develop the rookie from last year. He showed some flashes, but I don't think he'll be relevant.
Well, last year, wide receivers were targeted 74.5% of the time for this passing attack. So the tight ends and running backs not very involved, and that was the highest in the league by a wide margin. So Puka, if he's going to get 35% and Adams like 30, that's 65. I'm not shocked if that happens. Like, to be honest with you, I think they're both going to get. There's going to be games they both get double-digit targets. They can both.
I mean, we saw it with Kupp and Nacua, so I don't see why it wouldn't happen with Adams and Nacua.
And at this point, Adams is just so much better than Kupp. Like, Adams,
I mean, he was a beast on the Jets.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. He had some monster games. He still got it, and he was playing more in the slot with the Jets and was damn good with no Kupp. Like, those routes are going to be there for him out of the slot too, which he was very productive with Rodgers. But of course, he can still win on the outside. That's where he's made his money his whole career, right? So this offense is going to be insanely high-powered. Their offensive line is pretty good. I like their offensive line. They just don't have a ton of depth, but that was the thing last year too, why they started slow. Like more than half their offensive line was out. So they finally got everyone healthy and they were able to roll. And of course, we haven't talked about Kyren Williams, had nearly 1,300 yards and 14 touchdowns last year. I'm not a huge Kyren Williams guy for like pure football because there's a lot of talk they don't want to extend him. But in fantasy football, there's no denying the amount of touches he gets, the volume, and he has 31 touchdowns over his last 2 seasons. So he's 34th in yards per carry, but he's going to score a lot of touchdowns. And
I
am
get curious.
20 plus carries.
Have a bigger role this year.
I think Jarquez Hunter wins the 2 over Corum. Did you see the draft video when they were in the war room and like McVay and Lesney were like, yo, we need like Jarquez Hunter is our guy. Like they really wanted
brings
him.
A different dynamic. No, actually, no. It's kind of weird. They love their like short, stocky backs. 5'9", 204.
Yep,
Corum's
they like those physical guys.
210.
Yeah,
Kyren's 5'8", 5'9", 202. They have a type, and they've drafted that type. So I guess that's good. I guess that's good for Kyren is the fact that they're the same exact skill set, but also I don't know. It's interesting. The number 2 for this offense is definitely someone you want to roster. It's just a matter of is it Hunter or Corum? Because if Kyren is to miss any time, you would expect that they would be getting the full workload. I mean, we've never really seen McVay go to a multi-back system.
No, he doesn't. And that's why Zach Robinson, when we did Atlanta, I talked about it too, where like Bijan got a lot more carries last year compared to the year prior with Arthur Smith, because coming from the McVay tree, they want to have a workhorse guy.
Yeah.
So Kyren will be the workhorse. He was healthy last year, but he has had injury concerns throughout his career and in college as well. So I definitely think in best ball, I'm stashing a Rams back, and I prefer Hunter over Corum because I don't think Corum was very productive at all last year when given the opportunity.
No, just a very limited sample size.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, with saying all that, I mean, they do have a pretty difficult schedule. It's like more middle of the pack, but it's the 13th most difficult. And also, like, I know you mentioned Terrace Ferguson. I want to touch on him a little bit too. I think he could beat out Tyler Higbee. Although Higbee missed most of last year and he did look good at the way end of the year in the playoffs. I don't know. Ferguson's just a really dynamic, athletic guy. This team didn't have a ton of explosive plays last year. The Rams actually had the lead. They only had 2 catches from the tight ends of more than 20 yards, which is lowest in the league. So I think Ferguson, with his traits and how good he is after the catch, can win that job. Maybe not in camp, but he's going to start getting more and more snaps as the season progresses. And I think he's a good stash on your taxi slot in dynasty leagues.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it would be nice to see, them have a relevant weapon in this offensive tight end position, because Higbee has shown flashes over the years, but he's definitely not what he was. But obviously a huge injury will do that to you, because I believe he tore his ACL.
Yeah, it was a bad one.
It was that gross hit by who was it? No, it wasn't Brian Branch, was it? No, it was
I don't
someone
recall.
on the Lions.
Oh,
Who?
was that a Kirby Joseph?
Yeah, Kirby Joseph. That's what it was.
He's known for hitting those knees, man. That's what Kirby Joseph does. But that was their first pick because they traded out of the first round. It's when Atlanta gave them their 26th first to move up to get James Pierce, which was very risky out of the Falcons. So now the Rams have 2 firsts in the 26th draft. I know we're not looking 26. I'm just saying with 2 firsts, we've seen this team be really aggressive at the deadline when they got Jalen Ramsey in the past. I'm just saying, I wouldn't be shocked if they burn one of those ones to get a star at the deadline that wants out for a team that's going down. Or maybe they're thinking this is our last run with Stafford, and they're trying to package those 2 up to get a quarterback next year. It's going to be interesting to see how aggressive they get at the deadline.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I mean, yeah, no, that's really fair. I think Stafford's still got enough in the tank. I mean, obviously they gave him the extension and stuff, so they're still in a win now mode. Or I guess you could say maybe they're another year out. It's still a young defense, but if a big time pass rusher becomes available at the deadline, why not them? I mean, look at Trey Hendrickson right now.
Yeah, that's a great guy. If they don't get an extension done before the season, I could see Trey Hendrickson come into this team. Maybe they attack another DB. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but I think they will be aggressive. I think they're trying to go for one more ring in the Stafford era.
Why not? I mean, he's still one of the best quarterback. I mean, you could debate he's the best quarterback in the NFC right now.
You can. So with all that being said, Reagan, I have him 11-6, winning the division. You have 9-8, just sneaking in. Just sneaking in. Who was your MVP for the Rams?
Yeah, I mean, it's Stafford. I was thinking about one of the wide receivers, but ultimately without Stafford, this is not a playoff team. You lose Nacua or Adams, you still can get in to the dance. So, yeah, Stafford.
I went Puka, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I went Puka because without him, this offense was so bad, even with Stafford in there. And Kupp, the last 6 games, did basically nothing. And it was the Puka, Nacua, and Kyren Williams show. But for me, if Kyren goes down, I am confident that Jarquez Hunter can be very productive in this offense. Where if Nacua goes down, yes, you do still have Adams, but the wide receiver depth is just not the same behind those 2. And I think Puka is just, he had the number 1 target share in football when he was playing last year. He is the engine of this offense at this point. So I went Puka Nacua.
Fair.
Who's your X factor?
Ooh, this one's going to be interesting, man. There's a couple options you could go. I wanted to go Adams, but I think we know what he is. He's going to be good. So I basically ended up going with hold Oh, Jared Verse. Sorry, I had to look at my notes because, like you said earlier, I mean, he had the pressure, but the 4.5 sacks, he needs to get it up over double digits. So he's the biggest X factor. If he can continue to develop, building on his rookie of the year and become one of the elite top tier, like I'm not saying he's got to win a DPOY or anything, but like pushing like to be in that conversation, or you know, even pushing to be on one of the All Pro teams, then yeah, I think he'll be the catalyst behind one of the best defensive fronts in the league, or you can even make the case that they may have the best defensive front already in the league.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great call. I think if Jared Verse can get to a double-digit sack guy, it will make wonders for this defense because they're going to need it. It's a very young defense. They're waiting for a leader to emerge, and Verse seems like the leader in the clubhouse. I went Stafford here. Stafford was not good when he didn't have his guys. He struggled a lot in third down last year. He's 37 years old. At some point, you're going to fall off a cliff production-wise at that age. Does he have enough in the tank for one more run? That is my biggest question. Can he withstand the hits if there are some offensive line injuries? Can he continue to be that guy that's going to get this team averaging 25-plus points a game at 37 years old?
Good point. Yeah, I mean, I believe a lot more in him, but I get what you're saying. There still are some question marks, and it's, is he still at the elite level that we've seen him be at, winning a Super Bowl and putting up huge seasons in Detroit, or is he, hitting the cliff and starting to fall back where it's like, whoa, like this guy took a major step back. So there's a lot of variables here.
Yeah, and the fact that McVay and Snead were fine with letting Stafford talk to the Raiders or the Giants or the Steelers or whatever kind of shows me that they're thinking, all right, how much more does he have left? So for me, that kind of gave me a little bit of a red flag, but ultimately they were comfortable bringing him back at that number, but they didn't want to pay him like an upper echelon guy at this age.
Yeah.
Who was your rookie of the year? I mean, it's tough, man. The Rams didn't have a lot of draft picks.
No, they did not.
And not a lot of guys are looking like they're going to have an opportunity to start right away. Like Josiah Stewart, pass rusher out of Michigan, like, he's a solid player. Actually, only Abdul Carter had a better pressure rate from the edge in the Big Ten. So, but like you have so much young depth at the edge. Ferguson we mentioned, but like Higbee's there. Hunter, but Kyren's there. It's tough. I ultimately went Ferguson, but that's me banking on him winning the job.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to actually go a different route. In the 7th round, they drafted Mumpfield.
Yes, actually, McVay just yesterday has been praising him in practice, saying he's been one of the stars of camp. So if he can break the roster, maybe he can win that number 3 job.
And that's my point. I think he has a clear path for the number 3 job. McVay likes him, and we've seen guys like Puka Nacua, and I'm not saying he's going to be close to that level, but we've seen guys get drafted on day 3. Kyren Williams drafted on day 3, have the opportunity, seize the opportunity. So McVay doesn't like play into that capital. Like if you're a late round pick and you're showing out in camp and he's giving you, all that hype, you'll have the opportunity. So definitely a guy I'm looking at that could have an impact and fall right into that number 3 role.
Who is your DPOY? Is it Jared Verse?
Yeah,
it's Verse. Let's be honest here. Defensive rookie of the year, not a star-studded defense at this point. Who do you like for fantasy football?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love Puka at 6, like where he's going right now. Like, I think he's going to be a beast for fantasy, but Adams does scare me a little bit that it's like, hey, if I'm drafting a guy at 6, I kind of want him to be that like top tier, and I think Puka might be more of tier 2 because of Adams. Which, hey, if you can get Puka at like, late first, I'm cool with it, but there's just options I like more. Adams I like a lot, and Kyren I really do like. I feel like he's, even if Corum or why am I blanking on his name? Hunter. Sorry, even if one of the two does carve out a role, which I don't think will happen because it's just we haven't seen it with McVay. I think he's going like at a great value. Like he's going in the late 3rd, early 4th, and it's there's not many bell cows, and he's going to be a 20-touch guy, and I think there's going to be a high-powered offense with a lot of red zone opportunities. So I would take Kyren until we start to see the wheels fall off or the touches to fall back. I'd take Kyren because the same thing happened last year where he fell in that range, and you were rewarded with a top 12 running back.
Yeah, man. I went with Davante Adams just because I know he's 32 years old. I'm especially trying to target him in dynasty leagues because, some people might want to scare away. Yeah, I'm trying to get him off you, but some people might be scared of the age. But, when you see the output that the receivers get in this offense, and that's how McVay wants to roll, like I see no reason that Adams isn't going to be an 8+ target a game kind of guy and very productive and scoring a lot of touchdowns in this offense where, they need guys to get those red zone targets. They struggled in the red zone. So I went with Adams. I agree with you with Kyren Williams.
Yeah, he was RB7 last year.
Yeah, I mean, I took him last year in both redraft leagues and had him in one dynasty. I did move off him in Dynasty a year earlier than maybe I had to, but I was just concerned about, hey, if they don't re-sign him after this year, if he's not in that Rams offense, how he's going to look. He's not a big back. He wasn't explosive necessarily in college at all. It does get hurt a little bit, but like in this offense, as the workhorse back, it's hard to deny the production he's had. Right?
Yeah,
so
no, and
I will take Kyren in redraft leagues. I got out of my shares in Dynasty.
Really, I'm still holding in Dynasty until I see like a decline or a reason to be nervous. And yeah, in redraft, where's he going? I'm going to pull it up real quick. Okay, maybe it's not, maybe I was a little bit wait, I guess he's still going in the early third.
Early third. That's fine, though. That's fine.
But, at the early third to get a guy that ended as the RB7 last year with that kind of volume, like to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, especially if you start with a receiver in round one and you need to get your backs, like that's a smash spot for Kyren Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, 100%. All right, that wraps up our Rams episode. If you haven't done so, check out the remainder of our series, diving into every team. Let us know, Rams fan, does Stafford have enough in him to get another ring for this team? Can Puka and Adams coexist as wide receiver ones and be dominant? And can this young defense hold up enough for the Rams to hold off the Niners in this division?
Good point, man. Good point.